Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great to see you again. Thank you.
I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. At one point in America, the hopes and dreams of hundreds and hundreds of people, as they looked up into the sky, and those in the sky that looked down, they thought it was going to go in one way, and 29 seconds later, the entire Hindenburg was on the ground. And I think that's maybe what we saw today. We're bringing in BlazeTV contributor Fearless with Jason Whitlock and a Heritage Foundation fellow, research fellow to the panel. Delano, how are you?
Great, Glenn. I'm speechless. Said.
Yeah. I don't think I have seen anything burst into flames and die that fast.
Yeah, and I think what made it so striking is that Tucker went straight to that question.
Yes.
I certainly wanted to know, which is why the governor vetoed a bill that would have banned what I call conversion therapy, right? Puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, genital mutilation for minors in Arkansas. And to say his answers were unsatisfactory is quite an understatement.
Yeah, it is an understatement. Stu, I'd like to bring you in on this, too. It's not just an understatement. It didn't make sense to me. He was saying, well, it's the parents' right to choose. No, genital mutilation. We don't let Muslims come into the country and mutilate their children. That doesn't make any sense at all.
I would classify that entire thing as suboptimal. That did not go well for Asa. And,
wow.
It was interesting because you mentioned the Hindenburg, which is not a terrible explanation of this. The only thing is the Hindenburg is like 6 inches off the ground. There's nowhere for this guy to fall.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I guess it was less of a catastrophe than the Hindenburg, but only from that sense. You look at what he's talking about here, and his argument is basically, and he expanded on this in the Tucker interview initially, that he just doesn't want to be involved in the culture wars. And, I don't want to be involved in it. We need to broaden the party. That is an argument that doesn't make any sense.
John McCain.
Yeah, and essentially culture war, what is it, right? It's what voters care about.
So
that's what it is.
But it's not just the culture war. He also talked about the border.
Right.
Is 7 million people and 100,000 people dead from fentanyl that's coming from China and Mexico. Does that constitute an emergency?
Well, maybe to the governor, if this was happening in the Philippines, then it would constitute an emergency. But
I couldn't believe that. And, I heard something I've never heard in an audience ever before when he said, because it's important to the Philippines because that reflects on Taiwan, and we got to stand for Taiwan. One person.
a single clap.
A single clap. And he was getting golf claps most of the time. Yeah. But one person clapped for that.
He definitely was in Jeb Bush territory. Please clap.
Yeah.
But I think two things. Politicians who, sort of poll test all of their responses, you can tell the people who feel this on a gut and visceral level. And you can tell the people who, just have their consultants come in and say, okay, this is what you should say. Because as a parent, one, the notion that a person can change sexes is something that if I was running for office, I would just take that off the table completely. Yes, there are two sexes. Everybody says that. It's easy to affirm. But this is not, you can't flip-flop. Right?
No.
There's no switching. So the notion that any of these, quote-unquote, therapies, what the left calls gender-affirming therapies, which is actually conversion therapy, that any of these things would be legal is an attempt to promise something to young people that they can never
achieve.
That they can never achieve.
Yeah.
So it is stunning that after 2 years he still couldn't get the answers right, and I'm glad Tucker pressed him on it early and often. And
Tucker went hard. Tucker went after him hard, and he deserved to go after him hard.
He did. I felt bad actually for Tucker a bit because he is trying to be polite.
Yes.
He really is trying to be polite, but there's no way to go.
No.